What's up, guys? That really gross guy here, and we're back with another Fashion Frame episode with my parasitic Ash. So this is a fairly early Fashion Frame that I did in my Warframe career, and as pretty much as soon as the Locust helmet came out as a deluxe helmet, which was years ago, I ended up taking this skin, the Immortal Skin, and all of that good stuff, combining it onto this Ash, throwing these iliac. Actually, I think when the iliac cosmetics came out, these ended up on this build, and this thing was my version of an infested frame because there was no Nidus at that time. And I took this frame and kind of ran with this idea that this Ash had specifically succumbed to some kind of parasite of the infested, design of some sort. And it molded this Ash to be kind of a furious, aggressive type of Ash. So with that idea, I gave this this build a set of Venkas, which are these deadly, very cool melee fisties claw weapons, and it's just super fun to run these claws on this Ash. It's a lot of fun. Very cool build. I ended up also throwing on the Akzanis, because these Akzani secondaries, I felt like just the idea that it was an overwhelming barrage of like these needle-like, like, I don't know, projectiles, something that like a swarm of bees or like an infested locusts or something would attack an enemy with. And I like kind of the idea behind barraging an enemy with the ammunition that comes out of these Akzani weapons. Not to mention they aesthetically look really bone-like, or like even kind of I don't know, organic to a degree, which definitely revolves around that infested kind of feel. And then lastly, because the weapon is just really cool, is kind of that idea of throwing a barrage of rounds towards an enemy. The Sobek is, number one, I think the best aesthetically appropriate shotgun for this build, and like I said, because it's an automatic shotgun that sends just shards of projectiles towards the enemies and barrages them, not to mention the acidic shells and all that good stuff from the augment that goes with them, is just awesome. So that's why I chose this setup. It has the iliac attachments on it, which look really, really cool. It has that Immortal Skin, it has that Locust helmet, and it also has that really cool, it's such a weird name, but this Ormalu Cyandana, it's like the Pyroptera Cyandana or something like that, which is very scaly and just really, really cool looking on this Ash. So like I said, the way I play this Ash, the way I built this Ash was specifically to be an aggressor, something that shoots projectiles, something that damages enemies from afar, but also gets really close up and just goes ham on some enemies. So I built him with lots of power strength so that his fourth ability, his Blade Storm, can just devastate enemies. The fact that his shurikens I can cast out there and just devastate enemies. I haven't really neglected his efficiency, so he can kind of spam those shurikens every once in a while to get some really quick kills. His range is good enough so that he can use those abilities and close that gap, and then of course with those Venkas, get in there and tearing them apart. And I think it's such a cool, fun way to build Ash. In fact, I did a video a while back, I think in 2017, which was my favorite theme that I had for a Warframe at the time, and Ash was right up there. I don't remember if he was my number one or if he was my number two build. I think it was my number one, because I had so much fun playing with this Ash and in this build in this way that, at the time I couldn't imagine myself picking a better Warframe as my number one play style, I guess, for a frame. So but with that said, the way he's built and all that stuff is specifically for fun. While he can do, I don't want to, I mean, what is endgame these days, but he can do some pretty decent missions. He can get into sorties and be, fairly, fairly strong. But there are definitely better ways to build this frame if you're looking for the end game content. This was specifically set up to just shred enemies and have fun while doing it. So that is my parasitic Ash. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. How do you build your Ash? If you have some extravagant builds for any of your frames that are specifically for fun, I would love to know about them. But with that said, I guess where I'm going to set this video off for the final portion is if you want to copy this frame in any way, shape, or form and want to do the colors and all that good stuff, I have a section where I will show you all the color scheme and all that good stuff so you can make this Ash. Alright guys, so this last portion is for those of you who are interested in trying to copy down this this color scheme and whatnot for this frame. I'm going to jump into the appearance tab real quick and show you that this frame specifically is running with the Locust helmet, which I feel like fits this design the most. Definitely if you have that cash money and you're interested in the Carabid helmet, I think that also is a pretty good choice. And then not so much, I feel like, is the Ash Scorpion helmet. However, if you do want to go with the Scorpion helmet because you like it more, that is also a good option. But the other ones, maybe not so much. So Locust it is, and it is already a helmet that is in the game, so I think it is a pretty good choice and fairly easy to get. Next up is the Immortal Skin, which you'll have to unfortunately unlock through the market. I feel like it fits this way better than anything else. I like how busy it is because, when something is infested or it grows at a rapid pace, it always is like a busy, mass of craziness. So I like this busyness in this skin. Expect to see a upcoming fashion frame in the future using the Koga skin, which looks absolutely awesome. You'll see a little sneak peek of that if you watched my 2019 and beyond video on Ash. So if you are interested in checking out some other cool Ash stuff. And then in the attachments, I decided to run with the Iliac set. I feel like they're really cool because they do have that infested look and all that stuff. The bone chest piece, I like, but I'm not 100% on board with it, so that could be taken off or swapped with something else. However, I feel like this is the most appropriate in terms of things we have in game right now. And then lastly, I feel like this really puts this build over the top, is this awesome Syandana, which is the Chiroptera or Molu Syandana, which I think looks really, really cool. There are alternate versions of this Syandana, which is just the regular Chiroptera and then the Day of the Dead one, but personally, the texture and all that stuff, which is I think is just really, really cool, I feel like fits him the most. It looks scaly too, so I really, really like it. And then when it comes to the color scheme specifically, we will go down into this color palette and we will check out the color picker deal and run through those really quick. I try to keep as many of these in the classic palette as I could. So we do have this red here, which is at A4. We also have down here in the secondary color palette, we have the the storm color palette, and this one is going to be C3. I really like the smokiness of this. If you wanted to, you could probably find like one of these colors in the Shamrock palette. You could probably find something in the Grenier palette that's a little bit close. And then even on this classic color palette, you could get something like one of these two. However, I feel like one is a little too dark and one is a little too like washed out for my taste. I feel like this looks more like a skin texture and I like that. And then getting into the tertiary, we're sitting on the classic palette, sitting down here at L3, which is that lighter brown but not quite so dark. And then we have accents, once again, sitting up here in the classic palette at A4. And then the energy color you could find in a number of different palettes, but the Shamrock is a free palette. You could get it down in here in this cool little color scheme. If you have the infested palette, you could get a decent green out of it. But even in the classic palette, you do have some of these like lighter, more washed out kind of greens, which I mean, I like, but when you see like your Blade Storm and stuff like that going on with those you know, the ashes doing the lethal things, I like kind of the more vibrant green. So, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys again in the next video. Blow!